let's just get our part in the bag, and then we just throw in other videos.
Yeah, you're right. All right, I'll take the lead, and then you go to number 2 if you have it. Hello and welcome to the Art of Cinema Films. Hello and welcome to the Art of Film. Hello and warming up. All right. Hello and welcome to the Art of Film Cinema. The Art of Cinema. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Art of Cinema Film Set Etiquette webinar. My name is Emmanuel Sims, and this is
I'm
Josh
Josh
Callahan. All
Callahan Foley.
right, let's start over. Fuck. All right.
Get the jitters out. Come on.
Hello and welcome
Over
to the.
there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Whew, whew. All right.
All right.
Excuse me.
Just be yourself.
No.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the Art of Cinema Film Set Etiquette webinar. Thank you all for wherever you are. We appreciate you guys, purchasing this course and coming to visit us today. It means a lot. Well, my name is Emmanuel Sims, and this is my partner,
Josh Callahan Foley here. Hey.
Josh Callahan Foley, director, producer, jack of all trades, and he's really incredible. He spent a lot of time on film sets at Full Sail University. He's produced a film on a virtual stage, and he knows a lot when it comes to film set etiquette. Now, that's very important because the goal of this webinar is that we dive deep into the world of film set etiquette. Because with the experience that Josh and I both have, me having produced over 15 independent films and worked on over 50 film sets in just less than 2 years. My first movie that I worked on was in 2012. So well over a decade of experience with a wealth of knowledge that we both combine, we kind of get one of the gists of how it should be on a film set. We've made our mistakes, we've earned our stripes, we've got our badges, and we want to pass the knowledge on to those new aspiring filmmakers who are out there looking to get their feet wet. So again, the goal of this webinar is to dive into the world of film set etiquette and why it's essential to creating a harmonious and effective work environment on a film set. And I'll tell you that this is very important because you don't want to be the thing that stops the project from being completed. I will leave it at that. I'll let Josh, tell a little bit about what's going to happen. He's going to tell us why film set etiquette matters. Josh?
Yeah, so we'll get into a lot of that later on. This is going to be very direct and very straightforward from us. But first, let's start by understanding what we mean by set etiquette and why it matters so much. It's sort of the accepted conduct or behavior on a film set that everyone should follow. That's just a very dictionary definition. It helps just to maintain order, ensuring safety, and promoting respect among all members, and also making sure you get hired onto your next set because reputation is huge in this industry. So yeah, if we just want to dive into some instances from our personal experiences, I don't know how you want to do it, Emmanuel, but we'll see.
Yeah, sure, Josh. So when we look at it, we can really have to dig into discussing the implications of poor set etiquette. And on a film set, you got to think about how delays, conflict, and safety issues can cause a huge problem. So we're going to start talking about delays. So being on time is essential. You're going to get a call sheet if you're lucky enough to work on a film set. You're going to get a call sheet, and in that call sheet, it's going to give you valuable information: time, date, location, who, what, where, when, and why you should be there. And you're going to have to come prepared. You're going to have to come with your wardrobe if you have to bring a wardrobe. You're going to have to come with your makeup artist, whoever you have with you, already prepared and there with you at the same time. Why? Because if you're not on time, you can delay the entire set. Imagine a director not getting to the set on time, and they can't start without the director. Or imagine the boom pole operator not arriving, and we're supposed to be there at 9 a.m. It can delay the
Yeah.
entire shoot, and everybody's time is money. Time is money, and it's not fair to everyone else who showed up on time and who's investing their time and their energy and their money into this project for you to show up late, because now the whole project has to take a L because the slate, the first AC, second AC didn't show up. What do
Yeah,
you got any experiences?
I'll add on to that, yeah. So you gotta think about the big, big Marvel movies. You have actresses and actors that come in at 2 a.m., they sit through 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of makeup. So you have to have the actor there, you have to have their handlers, you have to have makeup artists. People are being there at the crack of dawn before sunrise. Even the end of the next day was 4 hours ago for them. Like the end of the previous day was 4 hours ago for them, and they
Yep.
had to be back literally 4 hours later to start. And they're there, but you choose to be late and you wasting their time, you wasting the actor's time. It's when I said reputation, they're gonna know who's late. They're gonna know exactly who you are. And the rule of thumb that I was taught, and you hear this a lot, is that early is on time is late, late is fired. If you want to be fired, the easiest way is to be late or not show up at all. If you don't show up at all, maybe you can have a
Yeah.
good excuse, but most likely when you go the next day, they're gonna tell you you can go home. You've already been replaced yesterday. So
My thing
yeah,
is,
always
if you're late, don't show up. But there's Josh. I don't mean to go ahead. You were gonna say something. I'm sorry. Always what?
no, yeah, always know what your time is, what location you are in, what state you're in, what that traffic's gonna look like, whether you're in LA, Atlanta, where you're located, how far you are from set. Also know your job, like you said, if your makeup, make sure you have whatever you need, whatever is not there. If your camera, whatever you need, if you're just an AD, make sure you have everything because you're supposed to be a Renaissance person on set. So knowing your role and knowing your time, and then getting there early, that is on time, is some of the best advice because once you're there, you're there. If you can be in the door, that's half the battle. And we're going to talk about once you're there, how you should act. And hopefully, we can give you some great advice today. But yeah, know what you need to bring. Don't be forgetting stuff because that's another trip back to your place and
Yeah.
back to set. And that is really what slows down because they don't want to fire you over that, but they don't want to have you come in the next day and do the same thing. So most likely they'll
Hmm.
replace you. Yeah, you can be fired, which is very bad. You can be replaced, which really sucks and feels like you're being fired. It's just maybe it's a bit nicer. And then your reputation on that set, if you're early every day, you may get hired onto the next set. But if you're on time, or if you're just barely on time, if you have that sort of reputation, you may not. So
But
honestly, I
hey,
think
Josh,
step one.
I wanna add to that because I don't want them to think that this is a punishment for people that have come late. Yes, we are. You did slow down some sets. You know what I mean? But I really want to focus on how to avoid and not have the issue. Okay, so simple things like, as you mentioned, making sure you have everything that you need. So if that call sheet goes out at 12 a.m., which sometimes it may go out at 12 a.m., until you get it and you know that there's one coming, keeping an eye out for that call sheet, because there may be a situation where you're not even needed that day. You could have been, taken off for that day, and you wouldn't know, and you just showed up, and now you're upset. So I want you to think about ways to avoid these conflicts by knowing things that happen to other people. I want you to think about when you get there, when you get to set, not only being on time, but if you're not gonna be on time, communicating as soon as you know that you're not gonna be on time. Now, we're all human, and I feel like we've all been through this where it's been we we knew we were gonna be late about a week ago, but we still didn't say anything. Has that ever happened to you, Josh? Like, you knew you were gonna be late an hour and a half ago, And it was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I procrastinated before I responded or even thought about saying something. I'm still trying to figure out how to get there, but and I know I don't have a way.
So yeah, in the interest of my next job, no, that has never happened to me. It happens, and it's
It
understandable.
does
We're all
not.
human, and you're
Yes,
working for fellow humans. They're going to understand, but you have to be
yes,
willing to break past those procrastinations and really be on your grind even after work, even
yes.
that night you're supposed to be all right. I have 4 hours to sleep, but you have to make sure you send in information if there's going to be something that could get you, in a kerfuffle later on that week, later on that month.
And speaking of kerfuffles, Josh, I like to next talk about conflicts. And that's really essential when it comes to why film set etiquette matter, because there's always going to be, and I don't mean conflicts like negative brothers and sisters butting heads and arguing and negativity, because we all come to have fun. Not saying that there aren't those situations. When I say conflicts, I mean there may be rain, there may be earthquakes, there may be the lights don't work, the power is not long enough, the cord's not here, the gaffer didn't show up. There may be time constraints. There may be overlaps. You may need to go longer than needed, and then people want to go home. There may not be enough food. There's all types of conflict that could go possibly wrong, which is why being prepared and understanding, one, your rights on a set, two, we're all trying to make a good movie. Now, if you're coming to go to work, I get it. We got to get our bag. But when we're making a movie, and everybody's saying I want to make this same movie, like my expectations, and I don't plan to overwork or kill anybody as a producer, but my expectation is that the entire time that you're there, you're putting your all into the film. You're not on your phone causing more delays. You're not chattering and being loud during the times that we needed to be quiet on set. You're not making it more difficult for the film to get produced outside of the things that are already gonna happen. Because things just happen. Things just
Oh
happen.
yeah.
And the last thing we need to be is a part of those things that go wrong. We need to be a part of the solution and how they go right.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. So let me just give you a introduction to that. Let me make it smooth for you. So, you've successfully made it early to set. Congratulations, you're working that day on set. That's amazing. But I hope you brought everything that was needed, but you also have to bring a way of thinking of I'm on set, I need to be ready for anything because this job is not the same day to day. You could be arriving to a completely new location than you've ever filmed on that shoot before when you go to set. And like Emmanuel said, there's so many things, whether like out of our control or maybe we thought was in our control, but now we don't have a piece of equipment that we need. I worked on virtual stages where they have the big LED walls. Those walls can just go down, and they don't know how to fix it for the entire day or a week. So you being there is on you, but once you get there, what happens there is kind of out of your hands, but you still need to be a trooper and a big team player when you get to set. And I think this is right where really this set etiquette comes in, the way of thinking you need to have, the approaches you need. So I think we can really start getting into all the nitty gritty stuff that we know from being on sets. We know from seeing people who've been on sets and have not had good set etiquette or feel like they don't have any set etiquette at all. So yeah, I think let's just get
No,
into what way of thinking should we have when we get to set.
exactly, because I think as long as you understand the mindset, because it's more than, like I said, just showing up on time and being a part of the beat, because there are, outside of time restraints and conflicts, there are a lot of safety issues that can happen by not having that mindset that Josh was just mentioning, having that not just an etiquette, not just a respect, but a mindset, a film set mindset, because not just pulling out a plug of a distro can cost you your life without knowing set etiquette. I'm just keeping straight up.
No, yeah,
Electricity kills. That's what they had at the soundstage. It's like electricity kills, and it does.
yeah, and we see
So knowing
everywhere
what to touch
online
and
when
what not.
something happens on a set. Yeah, I'm gonna get that
Mhm.
again. Yeah, and we see everywhere online, like the Rust movie, when accidents happen on set, you see that right away. And there's so many things that can go horribly wrong. Doesn't mean don't ever go to a set, don't even work on a set. There's people there whose jobs are to keep that set safe. There are so many people there strictly to keep you safe, everything running. And if you are one of those people who are a armorer or you work on all the lighting, all electricity flow, you need to be on your A game because sometimes when you go to set, your job is to have these other people's lives in your hands. So yeah, having kind of being on your A game when you get to set, even though you know that can be anything. You could be in the middle of the jungle as this, to be on set that day. You don't know what that day is going to bring, but just going up there, being completely focused, knowing what you have to do, going above and beyond, because it does happen with, there's people's lives at stake, depending on the scale of what shoot you're working on. But really, at any point,
Exactly.
you could have, so many things go wrong on such an independent shoot where there's even like five people. You gotta have sort of Murphy's Law in your head where whatever's gonna go wrong will go wrong. You pray it won't, but you have to be prepared. You have to know, what you should do when that goes wrong, or you have to know who to go to. But yeah, I'd say just arrive to set, ready to work with your mind open and definitely your eyes open because you could be walking into a pitch black set when you arrive. It could be the middle of the night, middle of the morning with no light. Uh, I mean, honestly, a good piece of advice is have your eyes open and your mind open to your surroundings. Because if you're so closed in, focused on one thing, you're going to trip and you're going to unplug something. You're going to do something, just stumbling along. Is you have to sort of be connected to that set and
Yep.
to everyone around you. So yeah, when we say when you get to set, you have to have that mindset. You have to leave. Maybe you had a really bad argument with a loved one, with a spouse, with something right before you got set. That's rough. There's been
Right.
I've talked to people on set. They're like, yeah, this happened. They should be having the worst day of their life, but they know when you get to that door, you leave it at the door. You leave it in your car. You're working. You're getting paid. You're working hard. You're making art. This is something you should enjoy, something you should take seriously because we have the right to take it seriously and we don't want to lose that. This is something that's very, valuable to society and to everyone there. You should have a love for what you're doing no matter what's happening in your life. When you get to set, you should be able to enjoy it, but also be able to live that uh, and not to mess up because you're mentally you're somewhere else. That's very dangerous going to set. I've on student productions, I've seen that where kids are just, zoned out. They're focused on something else. They're on their phones. It could be totally distracting, totally rude to everyone there, or it could even lead to them not seeing that a light's coming unplugged, the ladder's falling, someone's going to get hurt, something that they could have known about even outside of their job. So yeah, this is you should think of the people around you as a family, and they should be the only people on earth to you at that time that you need to look out for, whether that's specifically your job or that's just you're just helping these people out. You are peers, but you are also a set family.
Absolutely.
And any struggles that happen to the set happen to all of you equally, no matter what your job is. Some people have it much worse than others, obviously, but we gotta respect that. We gotta treat each other with respect. And that's something we're definitely gonna go into on how you respect different
Absolutely.
levels and different everything. But
Eh,
yeah,
eh,
just walk
I
into
I
that set with your mind open, your eyes open.
I like that you talk. I don't mean to interrupt, excuse me.
No, you're
Sometimes it
fine.
gets a little the lag a little bit. But yeah, no, I think, that's a good transition into talking about the different roles because I know we talked about, knowing when to jump in, when not to jump in. But before I get into that, I want to give some examples of when good set etiquette actually saved the day. So in the older movie,
Absolutely.
The Silent Survivor, on the set, there was a highly intense drama, right? In this movie, it was really, really dramatic, right? And one of the scenes required absolute silence so that the lead actor could deliver an emotional monologue. So, despite the large crew on set, I mean, everyone adhered to the strict silent rule. This allowed the actor to fully immerse themselves into the moment, and like they were really able to deliver, you know what I'm saying, like that performance that held as the movie's turning point. There's another one, the respectful PA. Once on a crowded film set, a newly hired production assistant was moving from some cables and they accidentally stumbled upon a prop that was crucial for the next scene. And I know directors is cringing right now when I tell this story. So instead of trying to fix the issue herself, risking further damage, I mean himself, excuse me. This is what he did. He reported it immediately to the prop master. His adherence to don't touch what is not yours. That's a big rule. Do not touch what is not yours. And that's what we're going to get about in the next segment, because we're going to talk about the different roles and the different positions and where you are. Do not touch what is not yours. And that rule saved the day because it allowed the colleagues to realize that that PA was on point. That says a lot. Like, don't just touch stuff. It could be a hot set. And when I say a hot set, that means that they're going to be actively shooting in a few seconds on this set. And it needs, the continuity is so important. The script supervisor is going to hate you. I hate to be negative. The script soup is going to hate you because it can mess up the scene, and it could be so crucial to making sure that we have that storyline that goes. Josh, did you have any examples of any bad etiquette that caused problems?
Yeah, I can think of quite a few because you have sort of that horror story memory. I just want to clear something out real quick. Friend, I don't know who's gonna be watching this. I assume, we're all pretty educated on it, but just in case when we say actively shooting, that's with cameras. I just, lots of stuff in the news. Just want
Oh
to clear that up.
yeah.
We use some lingo. No, you're totally fine. I just want to clear up. Like we're gonna use probably some lingo, some language that you don't understand. It's very film technical, just fine. If you have any questions about that, would love to do a whole, webinar about just that lingo so you can understand what people are even saying. Because that's another thing about set etiquette is being able to pick up on new lingo really fast. But about the horror stories of people trying to go out of their lane, I had one guy. He was a PA, I believe. It was on a set next to mine, and I was a second AD, so I was dealing with the actors in the green room. I think he was a door PA. He was constantly on his phone, so he got kicked, and he was told to kind of work on just. I don't know why they chose this. Just stick with the second AD, but also stay with the actors because they had a lot of actors on that shoot because they didn't have a huge crew. They probably had like 7 actors there, and they had a small green room. We were sharing it with them as well. This was at Full Sail University, so he was there to sort of help the other actors. He said he knew makeup, which will come up later. So he was there trying to help them with makeup. They did their own makeup because they knew what they were doing. He was working with some lovely women, some great actresses who did great on the film. I watched it; they were very good. It's an amazing film. But he, for some reason, now this is just people who really shouldn't be on a film set at all. And this is just one of the obvious horror stories that I have of people thinking they should do things that they shouldn't. So I guess to prove to the actors and to the other people on set, he used one of the actresses' makeup on himself to show that he knew makeup,
No, he
and
didn't.
he ruined her makeup.
Oh my god.
Like like, I mean, I'm not a makeup person, but I've used makeup, like blush, and it's like all that powder in the little thing. It was
Right.
apparently all destroyed. Like he did not
Wow.
know. He knew how to put makeup on him. He did not know how to put makeup on him correctly. Let me just say, he was just. it felt like he was spraying it. He used fake blood on himself because he thought that would be appropriate. There was a gunshot wound in the film. That was the only reason they had fake blood in the green room for that use. He used it on his face to show like cuts, something he learned in a makeup class in Full Sail. Great. I'm so happy you learned that. Use it in a narrative setting. But he put this makeup on, and uh Emmanuel, you've actually worked with this person. We could talk about it afterwards. But yeah, this is just burned into my brain. You will have people who do not know how to act, and do not know, because it's like this is a story beyond staying in your lane. It's just being able to stay still and being able to stay, you know, complacent with whatever you get. Because he was punished with like, you can't be in this room that we are filming in. So he got kicked out because he couldn't do his job. He got put on another
Let's call
job
it what
later
it
that
is.
day.
Hey, look, you need to be able to stay employable. Let's just cut it dry. Like, we don't know what level you are while you're watching this. You could be a first time filmmaker, but I just want to be straightforward with you. You want to be employable, because
Yeah.
once you are no longer employable, you will no longer be employed. It's all
Yeah.
about relationships. Who's gonna say, yeah, this person was good? No, they wasn't good. This person was, oh no, that person knew nothing about a film set. Like, you have to be on point. But I just wanted to add that in there, Josh. You have to
No, yeah,
be
that really,
employable.
you don't realize how directly that affects, like, that attaches to the story. Because as I said in the beginning, I was on a completely different set in a different
Hmm.
soundstage close to theirs. I was in that green room. I had to deal with it, but I was even the bulk of that. He caused so many problems. But the fact that, like, even the set next to theirs heard everything that he did, because, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, you do not act like this." That's like, he had no etiquette.
Hmm. I think
He would
I feel like I know who you're talking about, but I don't want to
Yeah,
talk about it here. But
yeah, I'm not, no names. When you are talking with your peers, please say names. Like, I will tell my friend here, Emmanuel, names, because I don't want him to hire these people, because they are going to destroy his sets. And this is really, I
Mhm.
really hope you hear this first before he makes any big moves like that. Maybe you're really showing an expressive person. You're like, they don't think I can do that, so I'm going to show them. He bloodied up his face with this makeup and fake blood that wasn't his. It was someone else's, and he trashed the actress that wasn't being paid to be there, was only being fed a lunch, which was reduced because there were 6 other actors in that shoot. So they kind of got pretty okay lunches because of the budgeting. He ruined her makeup, stole from the makeup artist on that shoot when she wasn't there because she had to work on set on makeup. And just so he did that, he bloodied his face up. So anyone on either shoots who have like, the actors have no reason to see anyone with a bloodied face. It's unrelated to either shoots. None of the other shoots are very like horror or graphic like that. So he ruined the mood, first off, because, I'm not gonna say like mood or anything. It's just, when you're on set, you're filming a comedy, it's funny, you're lighthearted. When you're filming a drama, which both of these were dramas, and they were a bit sci-fi, but they were very intense, very focused, very, the tone was set in these sets, and both sets did really well despite circumstances such as this one. But him going with a bloody face of makeup, showing people that, yeah, he can do makeup, he's like, yeah, I'm capable. I shouldn't have had the job I had when I first got to set as a door PA, which is his mistake for earlier stuff, for him not applying himself correctly and having a reputation like this. He did not come back the next day. And if he did, he came in to talk to the teachers and left. Because this is out of college, he probably can still get, better from this. He's not blacklisted or anything. I mean, he is to some of my college classmates, and, that alum of Full Sail and that group. But his reputation is tarnished for everyone that I know. And no one that I know would want to work with him. I do not want to work with him. Um, I'm not going to say any names. if you're
Yeah,
looking
let's not
for
even let's not give it too much energy.
yeah, yeah. No, 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 yeah. But I'm just saying also if you are put in a position where you need to hire people onto a set, such as you're a producer or you're an AD or something, it is imperative that you ask people before like references for, hey, do you know this person? What is their set etiquette like? Which is, the big part of reputation. This is why we're having this,
Mhm.
the importance of this webinar
Absolutely.
anyways. But yeah,
Hey,
that's one of the
you just
most imperative, one of the worst horror stories I've had. I'm glad I had it in college. It was a great launching point, great experience to have. Not even for the set I was on, for the set I was next to. And we even suffered because of that, because it just that whole sound stage is really messed up because of one person. All it
Mhm.
takes is one person and I think we should definitely talk about, if not this time, how to deal with people like that when you're on set as well. But that is, I mean, sorry if I'm going a lot, but like when you have someone like that who doesn't know set etiquette, everyone remembers their name because everyone has that call sheet. They will have your name, they will have your number, so please, please, please be a great person on set because they have your name, they have your number. They can hire you again. They know exactly how. They know exactly how to reach you, where to find you, who to talk to. So you can either set a really bad example of yourself or you can have great set etiquette and you can set a great example. But yeah, that's my story. I don't want to keep going on and on, but it's
no,
just
it's important, Josh. It's important that you share that because, um, I'm sure in many cases he probably wasn't aware. And
yeah.
there's a lot of times where, of course, because like, we have to be, considerate to other people's emotions and feelings, that some people don't want to take the time to tell someone that they're doing something wrong. So I thought that's why when you mentioned, should you share how to handle a person in that who's providing this type of environment to the set. I think that is important before we, because I know you mentioned it AD. So before we get into the different roles, maybe we should mention a little bit, if you're an independent filmmaker or you're someone who's having this issue, how to handle it in a professional manner. That way it doesn't cause more conflict, because that goes to another delay that's gone into the schedule because you didn't properly prepare.
Yeah. I think that's a really good story to kick off this webinar and set etiquette, in fact, because I just want you all to understand the severity of your actions on a set. And we all want to be on sets. They're super cool. Like Marvel movies are amazing. Even short films, like I've done some that I've been able to had the, privilege to direct and produce. I've had great people on those sets who deserve to be there and they had so much fun. It's a very great place to be if you can be with people you can consider family and people you can trust. It can be it's this is one of the best jobs I feel you could ever have because you get to not do the
I
same thing
agree.
every day. Yeah, and you get to make art, you get to be part of, Marvel, you get to be part of Disney, you get to be part of things everyone knows, everyone has grown up to, their next generations are gonna see. You'll have your name in the credits, and that's why we wanna be able to share these things because, we're not here I want that, but I don't want you not to have that. Because, I wanna be able to hire you, I wanna be able to work with people who understand these things. So, yeah, it's very serious, but also I'm not trying to scare you. It's
Right.
scary when you don't
It's
know.
scary. Yep.
Yeah, not knowing is just a loss of the battle. If you aren't already have sort of good mannerisms, it can be very bad. And we just, we're not saying change who you are, just change who you are professionally. But yeah, so yeah, I think if whatever you want to get into, Emmanuel, I just want to explain all you lovely people. Thank you for coming here. I really hope you get something out of this if you're just hearing bits and pieces. But yeah, it's very important to have great set etiquette. So let's get into it.
Yeah, hold on. Just give us a second.
That's your cue. No, it's fine.
No, I know. I'm trying to send this link to my aunt.
No, you're fine. I can talk more.
Um, yeah, you are about to talk more.
Yeah.
You are about to talk more. So, so my next line is, you're absolutely right, Josh. And we don't want to hold them because I know a lot of people may be new and they don't know much about a film set. So now let's talk about the different roles on the film set. Everyone from a director to the grip, as unique role as. All right. Now let's take a different look at the roles. Now let's look at the different roles on a film set. Everyone from the director to the grip has unique roles and responsibilities. So understanding these roles is a key to maintaining respect and open communication. Wouldn't you say, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So first, I guess we could dive in to the director. The director is the creative force behind the film. They interpret the script and guide the cast and crew in realizing the vision. Okay, you see, they are responsible for the film's overall look and feel. Etiquette here means clear and respectful communication with everyone on set and understanding that each crew member's responsibilities and their overall vision and how it adds to the set. You have anything you want to add about the director, Josh?
So, I mean, you could say it. There's a lot of stories out there about Hollywood directors, like such as Quentin Tarantino. I'm okay with putting that name out there because we all know sometimes it's been known they can do whatever they want on their sets, and per se, yes, they're still professional. They're not doing they in no way are directors should be doing anything bad anymore. We fixed those problems. I mean, it just may be eccentric and whatnot, but they are, you can think of them almost as if like the actors may be dressed in full makeup and everything. You expect them to be a little bit odd and they're focused on the role. Director almost has to have that same mentality, but he also has to balance the whole set. He has to be able to tell that story with every part in mind, everything in mind, making changes, making, performance changes. He needs to really be plugged in, and the set needs to reflect him. So from the outside, you could say he does whatever he wants. If you were going into being a director, the advice that I would give you is try to be confident with people around you, with your crew. If you don't know them, if you don't know your AD, which is your assistant directors, there's a lot of them. Please reach out to them. Definitely your first AD, talk to them. Have that. If you need to be fully plugged into the performance, if you need to focus on this shot needs to be like this, I'm really particular. Have people that you can fall to, such as your first AD, have that before you get to set, if you can. If you can't, just be ready to have a heart to heart with a lot of these people. You need to be very open about what you want on set first and foremost, because you have to make the hard decisions. That's just part of your job. But the etiquette, you need to feel safe in relying from your, people under you. You are considered first team, which we can definitely get into these next couple rules. We'll probably go over first team, second team, and furthermore. So people will be looking up to you. They're going to feel like you have everything under control. But directors, you will most likely get lost in your work. You're going to want to make it perfect and whatnot. That's fine. Depending on what set you're on, you are more than open to doing that as much as you want. But there will be timing and stuff, and you either need to be aware of that depending on the caliber of your set. If you're an independent film, you need to be able to control that set very well. If you don't have a lot of assistants that you can trust, but try to find an assistant director that you can trust, because
Yep.
sometimes you do have to be a bit of a jerk. You do have to kind of get a performance. You do have to distance yourself from even being a decent human being per se. I'm not trying to say like be an asshole or anything, be a jerk. Just saying, you know, take your craft seriously. We're here for you. You are here to make the
Hmm.
decisions. Everyone else has to be able to respect that, but have people under you that will be able to tell you, hey, you need to speed up. You need to slow down. This actor is requested to take some time to themselves, because you can be an imposing force, and that's totally okay within reason. So yeah, director, feel free, but make sure if you are going to be free and you're not going to put anything else in your mind besides what's happening in front of you, the shots you're getting, which is beautiful. That's why you became a director. That's the ideal situation. Make sure you know who you're talking to, whether that be a producer or a AD, first AD, to kind of be able to be your rope when you're going down this cliff of getting the perfect shot and everything. I would say that's the best set etiquette you can have, is being able to check in with your team. Be like, are we
Right.
okay? Just make sure you're still connected, because if you're disconnected and you're not understanding things, that's a big communication. So have
Absolutely.
communication with your team and let them be able to tell you, you need to speed it up. You need to
Right.
figure out what we can cut. You need to figure out how we can work around this actor, because ultimately that is your decision, on top of maybe also a producer. But
Right.
you just need to be able to
Speaking of
communicate, because you
producer,
can't consider that the whole time. But yeah,
speaking
two
of
producers to the
producer,
next person in first team.
yeah, no, to producer. Like, you keep saying it, and like he's so easing me up on it because I'm like, guys, this is my
That's you.
favorite role on the film set, and that is the producer. The producer oversees the film from inception to completion, and even into marketing and distribution. They handle the business and administration aspect, ensuring that a film stays on schedule within budget. Okay. And the etiquette for producers involve clear about their expectations, being respectful to everyone's time and efforts, and managing issues promptly and professionally. And I love that because it is very difficult to be a producer. That is when one of the roles that I have predominantly taken, because I enjoy the entire process. I enjoy from start to finish. I enjoy finding a writer like Josh or Anthony Kiedis Cologne, and sitting with them and hearing their vision, hearing their thoughts, and helping them bring their ideas to life. It's just it's fun, thinking about the steps that goes into bringing those visions to life. So when it comes to set etiquette for a producer, I would say not to dehuman. I like to say, since we talk about dehumanizing, not to like take the producer like he's God or anything, right? But please respect his time. Please respect her time. Please respect her time. I can say it again. Please respect his and her time, because not only did they have to go from development of the idea to later on marketing and distribution, there's a lot of things going on in their head. Most producers are like strategic uh masterminds playing Sudoku in their brain trying to figure out the movie. So just please, like, as much as you want to, run up on them and say, "Oh my God, hi, Emmanuel Sims. I loved your movie, Good Grief." I'm really grateful, and I'm glad you love Good
It
Grief
happens
because it was
all
an
the
amazing
time.
movie. It does, and it's important that you guys know that as much as I want to talk to you, let's wait till after wrap, because it would mean more to me that we get all of our shots, that we talk after rep. And it's not even that I don't want to talk. It's just people want to talk at the wrong times. And that's not set etiquette. That's a good transition. Josh,
Yeah, I would say
in the
producers.
wait, 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 hold on. In the chat box, I put a link. I just wanted you to be aware of it. And then you can go back and say what you're about to say. I just wanted you to be aware of it. Because I know I'll just pick up after I said that transition, but I'll let you jump back in. You can jump back in with producers, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. And I wanted you to do cinematographer and sound mixer. I wanted you to do
Mhm,
those, and I would do PA. But you could just read them. That's what I've been doing. You know what I mean?
cool.
But yeah. So I just wanted to. I noticed that you didn't. Whatever. So cool. So yeah, you can jump in whenever you want. So producers or whatever, if you want to talk
Alright, let
about
me get
producers, or
situated.
you can go straight into the next whatever you want.
Hi, how low are you? Ooh, scrolling very far. Cool. So yeah, for producers, it's a big thing, and I think this goes on to the first team being director, producer. You kind of got cinematographer or director of photography, I believe. There's a few more on first team, but those are the big ones that you're going to want to talk to as a lower, someone more down the totem pole, which is a completely fine place to be. It's completely normal. But yeah, they have a lot of people maybe want to talk to them. That goes along with the actors. Be aware of just holding your questions to wrap, holding your questions till it's an appropriate time because you don't want to be someone that's bugging, these big names. But yeah, try to be friendly, obviously. But for a producer, I would say advice that I would have is just know your stuff. I'm assuming if you're here, not to like put anyone down, but you may not have been producer very much, or you may not have been sets very much, and you may find yourself one day as a producer. Try to know everything and be able to answer a lot of questions because as someone who has been able to have the pleasure of having great producers such as Emmanuel Sims that I've worked with, they're people who are used to answering questions. So if you are going to be a producer, be able to know answers generally to these questions about the day of that day on set, about lunch, about if we're planning on going over, what's happening, about budget, about schedule, uh, but also be able to take notes because people may just come to you about questions that you may have to find out later that you may be like, that is a good question. Be able to take notes, be able to take note of everything that they've said. But yeah, I'd love to move on to cinematographer, but also director of photography. They're kind of the eye of the film. If you don't know who they are the person that works directly with the camera team and everything. They kind of design the shots, they design the look. You may think a director does that, and on independent shoots, possibly that's the case. But the cinematographer may be also the camera operator I've had on smaller sets, but on bigger sets, they're the person that designs the shots or making sure lighting is correct, or make sure camera shots correct. So many things. They have a lot to deal with. That's another person I would say, like director. Uh, if you're a cinematographer or DP, as we call it, director of photography, DP, be able to know who your team is uh, directly and everything. But yeah, let's just go into a quick blurb that we have, written down. I just want to make sure I give you all the information. I talk very personally about a lot of these things. I, study film, see it very personally. But yeah, so the cinematographer or DP works closely with the director to achieve the film's visual style. They control lights, as I said, and camera choices, camera lenses, so many camera things. It's a whole world. If you don't know cameras, do some research because it's so imperative because you're going to a line of work that is basically around cameras and it always has been, most likely always will be. We'll see how things go, but most likely it always will be about cameras and everything. So please educate yourself on that, especially if you're going to be working as maybe a first time cinematographer or DP. Please, please, please know things about camera, about lighting, about camera plots, about everything. Just consume as much as you can if you don't have time to prepare. I don't know what jobs you're going to get in the future, and you don't know either. So try to be prepared to take on anything, especially anything that's within your interest. But more into my reading here. Etiquette for DPs involves clear communication with the director. So you're going to work directly with your first team. So your equals per se. Director is going to probably tell you a lot of things that may be impossible. They're going to want shots. I know I've done this. I want shots that feel like we're in the floor, things you may not be prepared for on the day, and you need to be able to say no, or need to be able to figure out new solutions. So be a good problem solver. Almost on any of these rules, the one thing you can bring to set is being a good problem solver on any role you have. You might also have to communicate with the camera and lighting crews. You most definitely will have to communicate with them. I mean, um, depending on which set you're on, independent, maybe you're on an indie film, maybe you're on a big budget film and you are the DP. Someday in the future, just keep in mind communication first and foremost. I'm gonna say again, like directors, uh, Cinematographers don't necessarily have to be the nicest person on set. You're not being paid there to be nice. You're being paid there to make decisions creatively.
That's
And that's
right.
someone that there will be people to protect you from that. If people are bothering you, there will be people to be able to take them away. You're focused on what you're doing, focus on the craft, which is respected, and there will be people that will respect you on big sets. If you're on an indie set, you may have to defend yourself. I've done stuff where I've gone out shooting. You get people who walk up, want to know what you're doing. If you're holding the camera because you're the cinematographer, but you're also the camera operator, you need to be able to talk to people about that, and that sucks. But yeah, just communication to anyone and everyone that you have to deal with to get your shot, to get the director's shot, to get what is requested of you, what you want, because you do get to make creative decisions. Be able to talk to that, but also respect for the work of the art and design departments because they are making the sets for you. So please communicate with them almost as early as possible before the shoot if you have that chance. But on the day, if you need something moved, sometimes there are people directly there to work on the sets, depending even on independent shoots. Maybe it could just be you and a couple of friends. Try to have someone on art, especially if you're a DP, because that's going to help your job.
Hey,
Because art
Josh,
is there to help you. Yeah.
I like to add because you're making some really valid points. And while you were talking, I didn't mean to interrupt. It reminded me of when working with a DP. I think I want to just add that DPs should consider the different types of language when it comes to communication. And I don't mean foreign language and things like that. I mean that because you are trying to evoke your idea to different people from different backgrounds, different stages, different places, being able to explain to the sound guy, what it is that you're looking for so that he knows, being able to explain to your whole team. So that brings me to this one point I want to just suggest, and I know it can be very difficult, especially because we're freelancing sometimes, but try to really build a relationship with your team. Try to really build a general rapport with your team. You see, what I like about Josh, right? When we work together, it's a he knows me, and that's because we've done more than just films. So we've had Thanksgiving. We've hung out. We've done just little going away splurge, just walk around the mall and just kick it. I mean, we just enjoy each other's company, right? So when we're on a set and he might see that I need something, or I might say that he needs something, and then we'll automatically know to go and support each other. You know what I'm saying? Or we'll all automatically know, in so many cases, like we can speak to each other differently. We can say, Josh, do it like that time when Mr. Squash uh commercial, like we want to make it, I can give him references that he understands, that's unique to him, that it allows, the rapport to be even better. It allows me to say, no, I want it to look like Godfather when he had the lights beaming off, like, and know your film knowledge, know your stuff, be able to give a reference. And that's all I wanted to add, because this is, it's we're just playing with our friends. That's all I wanted to add, Josh. My bad.
Mhm. No, yeah, yeah. We went to college for this. We kind of get trained how to be film lovers, and that's if you don't know what you're making movies. So please watch movies, please know movies first and foremost. But yeah, a lot of the leadership positions, I would say, be able to communicate and be able to feel very as if you're family with the people who work under you, so you can trust them, they can trust you, and you can communicate clearly because, DPs, sometimes you're going to describe things that they've never seen, and you have to kind of adjust that. Sometimes on bigger sets, DPs can't necessarily be the ones going and moving lights and everything. This isn't really Citizen Kane anymore. There's a chain of command that has to happen, and you just have to be aware of that. If you are working on bigger sets, please research chain of command and all of that. When you're a big person in that set, first team or little team, just know who you're going to talk to. But communication, whether being clear about things, but also being clear about your language. because you could talk about there's a lot of film equipment, camera, lighting, everything, grip equipment that have many different interesting names. Some that I could name off the top of my head, but all the ones I know off the top of my head have very shocking names that are not necessarily PG or PG-13 that you might hear on a set. And as a director of photography, you know you need that piece for that light, uh, but you gotta know who you're talking to a little bit, and you gotta be able to either tell them or teach them what that is so they can go find it. So be able to communicate, be able to express yourself clearly with your language, because there are 1,000 different ways to describe any shot in a movie. And if you want to replicate that, there's 1,000 different ways you could tell someone who's never seen that shot how that shot should look. But also for DP, if you want to make, if you know you want to get shots and you want to replicate, you want to pay homage, have references with you. That should be almost a no-brainer if you know anything about being a cinematographer or DP. If you don't, that's totally fine. Look up pictures, watch that scene on YouTube and screenshot it. Be prepared. Just be able to communicate. Communication is key. That's how you're gonna get what you want on the screen that you're looking at for what's on camera. If you're not able to touch anything, if you need help on a smaller film, be able to communicate, hey, I need this. I'm stuck right here working on this light. If you can do that, that would be great, or at least get those parts so I can do that. Just being able to express your needs and your concerns and what you want for a shot clearly to everyone there that you work with. So know them, know their levels. You may have a bunch of people who have never done film before working below you if you're working at a smaller, independent film level. Maybe on a big set, they may know everything except for the ways that you learned it because you taught yourself. But you never know unless you've worked with that crew a lot. So try to build rapport and try to find people that um, they know and understand you. That's a big thing for a DP if you're able to pick your crew. But yeah, I think etiquette wise, be focused on your craft first and foremost and be able to communicate. That's two big things. Very simple, if simply put that way. Obviously, there's so many layers to that, but just be aware. So I think we can move on. So I can go over sound mixer. So just a quick PSA to anyone on set, especially if there are good sound people on that set, you most likely will be heard when you're whispering, when you're talking, and you're trying to have quiet. Even if it's loud and you're close to maybe a boom operator, they probably can hear you, and a dozen other people on a big budget set can hear you. So watch what you say. That's a free tip for anyone that is fireable at any day. You should watch what you say. But also, we live in an age of cancel culture. So if you are someone higher up, producer or director or cinematographer, when you're on a set, this isn't you can't always it's not always a playground that you're safe at to play. You know everyone there, you're good. There's still some prying eyes, some ears where you don't know they are. um so that's where the magic of the sound people come in, because the sound, you do hear things you may not want to hear. You may have microphones on the actors. You may be able to invade their privacy. You may be able to hear them use the bathroom because they still have their microphone on. So I would say sound mixer. Before we get into it, just a little hook.
Don't be a creep.
Don't be a creep. Before I even talk about sound mixer, if you're interested in sound but you're a creep, please don't. So, the sound mixer is responsible for recording clear and balanced audio during filming. This role involves managing microphones that could be on anyone, could be above anyone. You're going to hear a lot of things, but you're also running audio cables, which are very delicate to light cables. Light cables can really be beat up per se. You can definitely trip over a light cable and that light's going to be fine. Audio cables, those are very delicate, even more expensive because they're transferring data and not just power. So be able to be mindful where you put those. You're also going to be operating sound recording devices. And when I was in college, we used very old devices that are still used today, but also not used today. Sound equipment is always changing. So if you are new to working in sound, and you had the privilege to work with maybe a producer, because Emmanuel here has taught me a lot about sound when I've had to take over on small independent films. Be able to ask questions. That really goes for anyone. But if you're a sound mixer or working in sound at all, and you don't know what something does, if you touch it and you ruin the audio for that day or even for that couple shots, you don't know how much that's gonna suck for everyone on that film, especially and everyone with the pockets paying for that film, everyone whose pockets rely on that film. Sound is a lot more important. I can't express how important. Hold on, I'm getting a Amber Alert, which sound people are not gonna like.
This is
That's
a real
funny.
live Amber Alert happening right now. We're gonna have to leave this
That
in
is
the
funny.
class.
Sound, okay, yeah, sound. Be
Talk
prepared
about that.
to.
Talk about that was a good that was crazy. But talk about that.
Okay, so
That
uh, just a quick PSA for some people: when you have the headphones on, you're gonna have people walk by on a film set, saying who knows what volume. You need to have, I don't know, ears of steel, because you may not know what comes out on the other end. You may have actors that are screaming. You may have cats wandering on the set. I don't know. You're going to hear so many things at so many different volume levels that you won't be able to adjust in time. You may have Amber Alerts going off. You may have who knows what. So just be prepared first and foremost for that, because that even happened on my audio, which I'm sure you all are going to have here on that, because we're not going to edit this down. We're giving this to you very straightforward. I'm going to keep reading my thing to make sure you get all the information that's needed. But yeah, it's quite a lot of just unpredictability in the sound department. But it's your responsibility to make everything sound good, which is a lot harder than you think. So a lot of respect for
can
anyone working in sound.
can I add something, Josh?
Of course, please do, because yeah, I don't know if everyone here listening to this really understands the importance of sound and not to mess with sound, but also sound you're gonna get messed with a lot. So yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for me, let's talk about the importance of sound, right? Uh your job, your responsibility is to make sure that you have clean audio of the scene. I broke it down something so small. You need clean audio of the scene. And I hope I'm not asking for a lot, but you must know what's going on in each scene. You have to read the script so you know what's going on in each scene, because this is some free game right here, because this is more than just etiquette. This is some free set lessons right here. If you know what's going on in the scene, you can prepare. If I need a plant mic, if I need lavaliers, if I need a boom, if the boom is even needed, should I go boom low, should I go boom high, because you already know what shot they're on. It's all about that shot, that one shot at that moment. Okay, your job is to make sure that there's no excess background noise that's uncontrollable. Your job is to make sure that if there is, that you're speaking up. You're speaking up. We need to do that again, because there was a plane. We need to do that again. Somebody sneezed. We need to do that again. Like, you need to be speaking up. I need you to be a brave hero. You need to save the day, because you know what's going to happen when we get home in that editing bay and we're looking back and we sync that audio and you didn't catch that. You didn't say anything, and that was the best take. And we could have got it again, but you was nervous. You were scared that you didn't want to say something because it'd ruin the set. Now you ruined the film, because now we got to do ADR, and everybody know ADR do not sound as good as the real deal. I'm just gonna say it, and that's what it is. ADR is it's expensive. and it's sometimes not as effective as you doing your job. I'm so
Mhm.
sorry, but this is a film. This is I'm not sorry. I'm not because I want
Don't
you to
be.
know how to. No, I'm not going to. I want them to know if you. I want to work with you. If you're watching this, you're probably in my inner circle. You're probably close to either me or Josh, and you probably found this on the internet. But I want to work with you. And I don't want you to not know the importance of sound because that's 50% of the film. It's 50% of the film. So it's important that if you hear something, say something. I feel like I'm doing a drug administrator commercial. Listen, if you see something, say something. You have to speak up, and I would appreciate you 10 times more. You'll be the first, even if you made a debacle. I'd have you back first because you spoke up. And that's all I
Mhm.
wanted to add on that because you have to be a leader. And there's nothing wrong with speaking up and saving the day. I would appreciate that. And that's all I'm gonna say, Josh. And one if that's all you have, we'll go into PA. But if you got one more piece, go ahead.
No, I could talk a lot about sound. I've had the honor to work on sound. It is very interesting. But yeah, doubling on what you said, don't be the reason they can't use that Oscar worthy shot. Don't be the reason why they aren't even up for an Oscar because a lot of the great takes, there was something going on with sound. The audio was messed up. You hear rustling, there's a plane, yada, yada, yada. There will be, when you put those headphones on, you will hear everything. And when you're trying to hear that actor, you will hear everything getting in the way of that. And really, it is your job to deal with that per se. I mean, if you're your sound mixer, you have a lot of people hopefully working underneath you. Hopefully, you have at least one person helping you out. You should have a boom operator, ideally. I don't know what scope this is, but never, sacrifice sound. Uh, if you can, if you have the luxury, don't sacrifice sound because you don't realize how much it's going to make your film. It's a really really hard lesson for any filmmaker, anyone on a set to learn, because when you're working on this movie, you're so excited, you were just a small part in that movie and you go to see it and it sounds terrible. It's gut wrenching, and my heart goes out to sound because you will be on the same set as everyone else. You will, if there's any set wide problems, you're going to have to deal with it, but you are also in very much a world of your own. No one's going to understand the struggles that you are having at any given time. You are going to have to talk a lot to the camera department. You got to talk to a lot of other departments, and they are going to probably give you a bit of slack because they don't necessarily understand, like, why is it so hard to fix this problem. And that problem may be a problem that you don't even know what that problem is. You could have rustling on what you think is the actor's clothes, but you fix that problem, you still hear it. You have with cable management, you have so many different ins and
Yep,
outs
I was just
going
about to say that
everywhere.
it
If
could
one
be
of them
cables.
goes
Yep,
bad, yeah, if one
yep.
cable goes bad, that is could be could be a 10-minute fix, could be a 2-week fix because you don't know. It's really, you
And
are
let me
sailing
add
in
to
a
that.
whole nother ocean.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Josh, that go look. Well, here's a solution: test your equipment before you come to set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just adding that little sprinkle, sprinkle. That's it. I just want to add that last piece because
Yeah.
you inspire me. Test your equipment before you come to set. Get there early so you can test your equipment
Mhm.
before the shoot starts. Test your equipment
Yeah.
while they sitting down and they getting their stuff together. Test your equipment as long as you can before you can't test it anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like just quick
Yeah.
solutions, y'all. Just quick solutions.
We're telling you these things because we have learned these lessons the hard and
The hard
expensive
way.
way.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Yep.
embarrassing. It could get you not hired on another film if you're on big budget films, and that could almost be out of your control when you're working sound, and that is a scary
Yeah.
reality, but it's very true. You need to
It's
know your equipment, and you need to love your equipment. You need to know where your equipment is. I can give an example of when I worked on sound and I made a mistake that I didn't want you to make. Uh, Manny, I don't know if you had something to say. I can let you in before I go into my quick story.
Go ahead. You're doing great.
Yeah, so when I worked, I was a sound utility, which I was under the sound mixer, under the boom mixer. I helped them with everything. I was their renaissance man of the sound world. I was fixing cables, fixing problems before knew they got bad. I was on top of everything so they could do their sound, mixing it, making sure levels are good, making sure the boom is good because they have a whole world to deal with constantly, and I was just there to monitor them. But I made a poor mistake, and it was okay. I was still in Full Sail University College, and I was still in a safe environment. I had an actor go home a little earlier during lunch when we were on break, so wasn't there to help him with his microphone that he was still wearing when he left and drove 3 hours back home, and that microphone costed, I couldn't even give you an estimate because that's a receiver, that's a lav, and a few other things. Ultimately, the professors had to, help and get that microphone sent back, and it was totally okay. Like, I'm not necessarily suffering for it because I took it directly to them when that mistake happened. I took it to my professor, or you could take it to a producer or the AD, someone in charge of set, someone there to. Their job is to fix the problems. Producers, your job is to fix the problems. So sound, if you have problems like that, you could go to a producer, you can go to an AD because sometimes, and I've heard from my professors when I was in college, you'll have actors leave, go hours away, and you have to have someone to go back and retrieve. You have to have someone drive and trail them for 12 hours there, 12 hours back. Whatever the situation is, it's not pretty. So when I say love your equipment, know where your equipment is. If it's just you, you can get overwhelmed, but know if, hey, that actor, that actor, that actor, that actor, that actor is wearing my microphone. I don't have insurance because I'm a small independent sound mixer, work on this film set that I don't really know. I can't really trust anyone here per se. Be aware because you're saving yourself money because most likely you own all of this sound equipment and you're being paid for your services and that equipment, but you're not giving them that equipment. They're not paying to buy that equipment from you, so don't leave anything behind on that set. So your
You
equipment
said something that was
is yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
I'm
sorry, you
just
said
gonna say
something
this
that
real
was
quick.
very
Your
important.
equipment is your that is your talent per se because you are sound, but you also probably, if you're a sound mixer, you probably own all of sound equipment on that shoot, which is big bucks in your pocket, but a lot of money to replace if things go wrong, and you have to be on top of that. So yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, my apologies. You said something so important that just triggered me to say, I like how you did the right thing. And as we do the set etiquette course, um, going to the producer, going to the directors, going to your teachers, and letting them know immediately instead of like twiddling your thumbs and trying to panic and make up an excuse or lie
Oh
and
yeah.
try to, be a weasel. You did the right thing. And that, I just wanted to say, that makes you employable. That keeps you being employable because in that time you're wasting, there could have been a solution already in play. And I just wanted to say I commend you, Josh, for that. That's the first time I heard that story, and
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you for doing the right thing. And I just wanted to share that. I didn't mean to interrupt. Was that
No,
everything for
no.
sound?
Yeah, I'll just speak this into life really fast. Maybe we'll hit on it later, but what you were saying, we are all human. No matter what job you have, you're probably gonna make a mistake, however expensive, however destructive, however that mistake is. I've heard from people in the industry themselves, like, don't just sweep it under the rug. There's probably other people on that set that have made mistakes. They may have gone to the proper people, they may have swept under the rug. You're either making a mess, a financial mess, just a mess of broken equipment for other people to deal with, which is not cool. That makes everyone look bad if they don't know who it was. But if you make a mistake and go to the producer and you are honest about it, you shouldn't get fired. I'm not gonna say you will get fired. If it's bad, you'll get fired, but you'll if you were honest about it, it'll probably be pretty clean and pretty nice because there's a lot of different ways to get fired. And if you can get fired but still get paid for that day, even though you just destroyed maybe more equipment by accident, however it happened, it's fine. Things happen on film sets and everyone understands that. If you're able to go to the producer, explain how you broke this equipment that is 5 times what you're being paid for that shoot, um, and you're honest about it, you may not be asked to come back tomorrow, which means that you are fired from that shoot, but you may still be paid, for your work because you were professional about it. And that may just be them sort of stuck up about it, but you may be invited back because you did the right thing. And that is a really tough lesson to learn. I was in a safe spot with being in college. I was in a safe place where I was able to do that. So I felt safe and I wasn't worried, but I would still do that if I was on a big set. If I was on a set that I didn't understand something, but I definitely just broke something, you need to tell people, do not be someone destructive on set, please, because that is if you make the whole crew look bad, then it might mean that whole crew may not make movies again. And you that's I don't that, to me, the guilt of that is worse than just being a jerk on set and being fired because you understand if you were hiding things that you did on accident, totally understandable, but you weren't confident enough to, you know, confess per se, but also just tell someone this happened. Maybe you tripped and it happened, it's fine. There are, things in motion for that. There are people whose jobs are to help with situations like that. So just be open. Whatever size set, if it's independent, but they're gonna need you there. But then if you're causing trouble behind the scenes that they don't know about and they find out it's you, yikes. So yeah, just be open. I just want to speak that into existence. I know that may be a little out of this one. That may get cut and put somewhere else. I don't know, but just be aware of that. Cause I don't know if we may hit on that later, but that's so important to that communication to even when you make mistakes. So yeah, we can even go on to one of the other positions that are there's going to be a lot of advice probably on this position. I would love for Emmanuel, you started out unless you have something else to say.
Yeah, no, no. I said I was just agreeing that that is set etiquette. Have respect for the shoot. That I feel like that's the utmost set etiquette is being honest and being transparent about things. But yeah, I'll get into the next role, which is the PA. And a lot of people don't know that a PA is actually in the home of the directors in the AD department, right? The PA is often the jack of all trades on the film set, handling various tasks from crowd control, running errands, assistant department heads, and
What
etiquette
does
for
PA mean?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you know what, Josh? Thank you so much. A
No,
PA
yeah, yeah.
is a production assistant. I am so sorry, guys. So let's start that over. A PA is a production assistant. And if you ever hear someone say PA, that's what they're referring to, a production assistant, someone who is able to maneuver to be the sand on the set, to be able to help you get from one part to the next part, being able to keep everyone quiet when the first AD is also directing the second line of extras. Being able to be that second eyes when the script soup need to go to the restroom, and the etiquette for a PA involves being proactive, being respectful, and ready to help whenever is needed. I'll tell you this, something you won't hear a PA say is, I don't know how to do that. I can't do that. How do I do that? Like, they may ask, how do I do that? But they're not going to say no. Okay, they should always be aware of what's happening on set to take care of it at any time. There should not be any instance where people's roles
Mm.
or responsibilities are being misconstrued or out of place because a PA, a production assistant who is on top of their job, will be on it. Okay, and that's just a few roles on the film set, um, and each has its own unique, specific etiquette. And understanding and respecting these roles is crucial for smooth interactions and overall successful film set. Josh, did you want to add anything about the production assistants?
So I would say if you have the honor of working at PA on any shoot, it may seem like you are just the trash person. You're, hey, can you take this bag of trash out to the dumpster? That's super common. And you have to, if you want to be hired again, please be a production assistant, just an assistant to the entire set almost. Be ready to be like, yes, I will take that trash bag out as quick as I can. I'll be right back. I will, not knock anything over on the way out. I will know my way around set. But be someone that's ready to do, literally take out the trash, figuratively take out the trash in some senses. Who knows? But just be someone who's ready to do almost anything, um, you know, and help in any way, fix problems before they happen. And please listen. We're probably going to get into a lot of etiquette that's very general. That's probably going to directly apply to you because although you may love films, you may love filmmaking, you may love the art and everything, as a PA, you kind of are the most distant from that creative process. It is your job rather to ensure that the creative process can happen. And that's really to any assistant. Your job may not be, yeah, let's make it purple. Let's do this. Let's have them act this way. Your job is going to be like more, can we please move aside so the director can come in, everything, make sure people are where they need to be so that creative things can happen. If you're an assistant to anything, your job is to make sure that whoever you're assisting can be creative. If you're a PA, you're a production assistant, you're there to make sure that the production can happen. That there can be good footage shot, there can be a great movie made, and there wasn't problems. The set didn't burn down, everyone was fed, everything went well, the actors were where they need to be. So, assistants, if your title has assistant in the name, you need to be able to step back from, yeah, I need to be creative. I'm going to help make this film creatively. You're going to help make it possible for people to be creative on this film. Never, that doesn't mean if you are stuck as an assistant, you will never be able to be creative on a film set. You may have great ideas. You may want to tell them, and depending on what type of set you're on, know if that's okay. If you're on a very open set, you have a great idea. This is no one's gonna know where the great ideas come from. So be open if you can, but also be respectful to the fact that sometimes you have to be quiet. You may think whatever the director just did, whatever the shot was, whatever the camera looked like was terrible. You would not do that. I don't want to watch that. You may think it's terrible. And to be honest, you might work on sets, you might work on films that you have no creative input and they turn out terrible. But at least you were there, you got to put something on your resume. And when you're an assistant on anything, it's mainly just putting things on your resume to move forward to where you can be creative because I'm sure we all are creative and we all want to be, that sort of influence on a film and have our mark on it. But as we go on with these next, you know, I'm getting lost for words here. The next etiquettes, tips and everything. Just know if you have almost, I'm pretty sure you can correct me if I'm wrong, Emmanuel. If you have assistant in your name, your job is to assist on having everyone else be able to be creative on that set and you keeping that set going. You're there to make it
Absolutely,
possible. And
absolutely.
that's
See,
really tough.
it's
Yeah,
really,
that's really
really
tough
tough.
to understand. I think we both understand, but yeah, you go ahead on that one.
It's really tough because you have to know your value. You have to know what you bring to the table and how important your role is. There's so many stories about how PAs become directors, PAs become the next big producer because they're really in the game. They're really on the court. They're really um, making the plays, being able to be the bridge to ideas to technical. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It's a very important role, and I'm glad that Josh really put emphasis on that because the PA must know everything essentially. And that's where I'm going to lead into my next section, and that's the general rules of film set etiquette. And if you guys are getting into the film business, this is good for you because if a PA is some of the first positions that you can start at, that's like one of the earlier roles that you get. I don't want to say easier, but if you want to get a head start, a PA, a production assistant, may be that first role for you. So I think this next section is going to be really good because we're going to discuss specific rules like don't touch what is not yours, respect quiet on set, arrive on time, and etc. So there are general rules for everyone that everyone should follow on a film set. For instance, one should not touch equipment that doesn't pertain to their department. Let go. Okay, let's go over some rules and understand why this is important. So, first, I mentioned the don't touch rule. So each department on a film set has specific equipment and they are all responsible for them. The camera department is responsible for those cameras. So if RA go missing, that department is in charge of that. If a lens go missing, if a focus puller goes missing, that department is responsible for that. This is a crucial rule for maintaining order and ensuring that there's nothing that's misplaced or used incorrectly. For instance, a grip should not handle a sound mixer's equipment, and a makeup artist shouldn't meddle with the lighting crew's tools. Doing this can disrupt the workflow and potentially cause damage or delays. Y'all remember we talked about delays? You see, respect, like, respect on a film set is number one. And when you just don't step over those lines, it allows everybody to stay in their mode. Some people take stuff personal. Would you say, Josh? Some people take it personal when you touch their stuff.
Yeah, you you don't realize when you get on the set, you can feel very trapped. You can feel very claustrophobic almost in your emotions, and emotions run very high on a set. When you are doing something you're not supposed to, the people responsible for what you're trying to interact with, what you're trying to do, could be very upset. There could be a lot of things said. It's can get very heated. And I would even add on with don't touch other people's things as hopefully you get to the point where you're working on such big sets that you can work on union sets, which mean you're going to be very well taken care of. You're going to be very well paid. You're going to be fed. You're going to be treated very well if you can treat other people and other things very well, because that's where a chain of command and there's departments that have to work together, but you can't do makeup if you're a camera guy. You know, where there are specific legal rules in place to keep me, a lighting person, to touch the camera, to touch the art. And as you go down to independent, that may be really wishy washy. You may have to wear a lot of hats, which Emmanuel can tell you all about wearing a lot of hats. He'll probably get to that at some point when we go over, when you're on an independent shoot and how you should act. But you should know if you ever get to be part of the union, you need to really strictly know what you can do and what you can't do and for what job you have on that set. Your job may change, so you have to know when that changes because you may get used to working directly with the camera, but no, today you have to work with the lights, but you go up the camera, you start fiddling. That's a fireable offense. That's really bad if you're on that set. You're not supposed to. They don't know that you have that background. They may think you're just someone who likes cameras. You went to go look at the camera. and you're messing with stuff that they
Right.
already had set up, that's bad. So yeah, when it gets to that
Yeah,
big, that is where it's super, super serious.
absolutely. And sometimes you do gotta wear a lot of hats, but knowing which hats you're wearing, goes into that earlier set etiquette of, checking that call sheet, knowing who you are today, knowing if you're a GIF, a grip, or a gaffer, knowing the difference. Because sometimes you might be one or the other. You might play a lot of positions, but knowing which one that you're going into and taking the equipment that you need. But yeah, Josh, I agree 100%. And I'm just going to get into a couple more of these, and we're going to move through this very quickly. We already mentioned it a second ago, but I really want to talk about respecting the quiet on set. So
Mhm.
during filming, it is crucial to maintain a quiet environment to ensure clear audio recording and to allow actors to concentrate. This rule is especially important when shooting intense or emotional charged scenes. For example, during a delicate emotional scene, unnecessary noise can break the actor's concentration, leading to retakes, and that can waste a lot of time. Now, as we mentioned that last movie, it's important that we don't waste time because time is money. And that goes into the next rule of thumb, arriving on time. And I know we mentioned it, but we're going to mention it again because punctuality is crucial on a film set where schedules are tight and delays can have a domino effect on the day's shooting plan, whether it's the lead actor or a production assistant arriving late. It can set back an entire operation. An example could be a makeup artist arriving late, which delays the actor's readiness, which turns to postponing the shoot or having to reschedule. Like, boom, 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 boom. The whole shoot is done over one little thing. And that's why we decided to make this course, because set etiquette is key. You have to follow the chain of command. Each film set has a specific hierarchy and a chain of command to maintain the order of the streamline of communication. Always address concerns or issues with their immediate superior rather than bypassing the chain. For example, a camera assistant reports the camera issues to the cinematographer or the camera operator, not directly to the director. These are things that you should always know when it comes to being on a film set. And if you want to become a PA, if that's your goal, or to start some early director program, you need to know this. You need to know how to be prepared and to stay alert. Always come to set prepared, knowing what scene will be shot and what are your responsibilities. Staying alert helps you avoid all types of incidents and accidents and ensure that you are ready to jump into the action when needed. A prop master, for example, should always be prepared with all the necessary props for the day of the scenes and be alert of any changes or issues that may arise. Like, I've worked on film sets, and I don't know if this happened to you, Josh, but I worked on film sets where the they forgot the main prop that leads the film on to the next set. Like, how do you forget because no one was on top? Listen, I understand each film set might have an additional or slightly different rules based on specific needs and culture. But the key is to understanding and respecting these rules and maintaining a smooth and effective film process. I don't think it's hard. What do you think, Josh?
I would say if it's your first day on that set, whatever set it may even be a 1-day set and you may be learning as you go. Allow yourself, you could be, you don't have to be an expert. Every set I would say is different because it's a different movie on every, sets being made. I This way I'm talking about set being the whole filming of the movie. So on that shoot, I should say, it's going to be different than every other shoot you've been on a little bit. If it's your first time on a film set, on a film shoot working, and you don't know everything, that's okay. Just be aware of the simple things I would say that you can look up. look up as much as you can, watch as much videos, webinars, what have you, such as like knowing set calls, such as quiet on set, rolling, everything when they call action, be quiet, don't be moving, just knowing how to function like that. But then there's nuances such as things like big props that need to be moved, knowing where everything's gonna be moving, knowing if you can stand there or if you will be run over by a moving wall. Picking that up from your first day to your last day, sort of being able to absorb, again, as I said, having an open mind and open eyes, being able to absorb everything because if it's your first day, if you've been on thousands of other sets, it's your first day on this shoot, I would say still be open because you may have a different director who likes to do things a little bit different. He likes to take his time. He likes to be very playful. There may just be a lot of riffing with the actors where the actors can just, sort of make up their own lines. It could be very fun, very open. That's great. But that's a very different set than, say, a war movie where it's very serious. There's explosions. You have to know what distance you need to be from the actual set where the actors are because there's landmines of explosions that shoot at the ground. Every set is different. Every shoot is different. So understand basic set calls when they're calling to start shooting, they're calling quiet on set. Lock it up means that no one's allowed in or out. How to be quiet, how to sit there and be quiet for however long they need for a take. They could be doing really, really long takes, back to back and back to back to back. Knowing what take and knowing all this language is very important as well. Just general, you know, essential stuff you need to know and basic etiquette because you are now, like I said, a set is like a whole different world. You are now living this world. Try your best to understand it before going in. That'll help you a lot. But if you don't know and didn't have that time, you just get called in, you've never worked on a set before, but they need someone, if you're in that situation, ask questions. No one can get mad at you for asking questions. And if they do, ask someone else because most likely other people will know if it's basic questions that you feel, you know, you can get an answer out of everyone. Use your best judgment, common sense still, but be open, know what's around you, and be able to understand the tone that's being set by everyone there. I say that's a big thing on top of knowing the basic set calls and everything. So yeah, I like that's immensely important to be confident going in because you may be talking to someone else and you may not hear quiet on set because you're not wired to hear that, where those people might. So when everyone gets quiet, you know enough to match them and be quiet as well, be able to have that mentality, but also be open. Maybe there's something on set that was said to a few people, but it wasn't translated very well because communication errors happen all the time. They may be bringing an animal onto set. You may not know it may be a lion, and you didn't know you have cat allergies, whatever you need to get out there. Sure. So just being open and hearing on set and being able to understand that set for what it is. So by the last day of that shoot, you were on top of it. You can completely understand. You can take that to your next set, but also leave that behind because every set's a little bit different. But yeah, knowing the basics, but also knowing enough to know that you don't know what to expect. It's a really twisted mindset, and I'm really trying to hark on it quite a lot because if you don't know it, it just won't click. So we want to work with you. We want you to be successful. So we're gonna explain things. I know I explain things quite a lot, but because these were really hard lessons to learn if you don't know them. So I'm going to wrap it up there, but I can't express the importance of being able to understand what it means when someone says quiet, when someone says to lock it up, when they're going for picture, what it means when they're rehearsing, what it means for your job specifically, as much as you can, but also being open minded and open eyed to see what's around you and make good judgment and know maybe new lingo, new situations that's happened because you every day on set is not the same. So you just have to be able to understand what's happening.
I agree 100%. And the more you know, the more you'll glow. And truthfully, don't get discouraged. Like, go and make those mistakes so that you know why we're making such emphasis. We're trying to help you try to avoid them, but don't make a mistake and then don't try to show up on another film set. Like, don't kill anybody and try to show up, but like definitely like keep trying. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up. Um,
Yeah.
the last thing, because we keep making emphasis that every set is different. We're going to talk about etiquette in specific situations. See, all film sets are a little diverse, and there are so many different situations that may arise, like dealing with actors that requires a different approach than dealing with or crew members who may have disabilities or may just be different or anything. Or similarly, how about handing out equipment and negatively different types of set calls for specific etiquettes. Okay, let's read that one again. Film sets are diverse, and there are so many situations that can arise. You see, dealing with actors that require a different approach than dealing with crew members. You see, similarly, handling equipment and navigating different types of set calls for specific etiquettes. Let's dive into a couple of scenarios. A film set can be high pressure environment, particularly when running behind schedule, dealing with technical difficulties or shooting complex scenes. You see, in these situations, it's important to stay calm, to avoid blaming others, and to focus on finding solutions. As Josh was mentioning earlier, for instance, if a technical malfunction happens, instead of causing a commotion, promptly report it to the respective department head and let them handle the situation. Like Josh mentioned earlier, when he forgot that he left the lavalier on the talent, he made efforts immediately. Handling sensitive scenes. When filming sensitive scenes, such as those involving nudity or extreme emotions or violence, the set atmosphere should be respectful and supportive as possible. You see, crew members should refrain from unnecessary comments or jokes, maintaining really good professional behavior and provide actors with a space that they need to perform. You see, only necessary personnel should be on set during such scenes, meaning you should know when to step off. Like quite like just to be straightforward, you should know when to say, "Oh, let me not be here." This is if you know that you're a goofy person who's gonna laugh and be giggly, and you know yourself. Know when you're like, okay, this is a serious scene. I need to be away. Okay. Um, there is, like I mentioned earlier, so many things that can go wrong, like challenging film conditions. Rather you're and I don't know if this has happened to you, Josh, but this has happened to me when I was shooting Good Grief. We was in like a really cramped, small apartment, and matter of fact, kind of like when we did Nighty Night, right? And
Yeah.
there was like it was dark, it got cold, the fire, we had all types of different things that can go wrong. And we had to be patient, we had to be cooperative, we had to be
Mhm.
flexible. You got the Bella in them designing the doll in the room, putting the last touches while we also trying to get the fire pit going and move the tents around. We had to really respect the space and the needs of others. We had Crafty right right in the middle of the set. You know what I'm saying? So we had to keep our equipment and personal items out on the porch so that it can make space for us to have things in the room. And everybody was available. My oldest son, he'll be 12 this month. He was there. He was very supportive, helping around as much as he can, you know, and it was just knowing that things can go wrong, as we mentioned before, and just being a solution based filmmaker. For example, if you're shooting in a public place, be courteous of the bystanders and the local residents, keeping your noise and disruption to a minimum. When it comes to dealing with conflicts and disagreements, like, handle these situations professionally and respectfully, avoiding public confrontations. If this problem occurs, bring it up with your immediate supervisor or the appropriate party privately. And last but not least, respecting wrap time. When the day ends, promptly clean up the space and equipment. Come on, y'all, we grown. Ensuring that there's nothing left behind. You don't want to get all the way home and realize you forgot your camera because you didn't do a dummy check. You didn't walk around and make sure all your stuff was there. If you need to discuss something, don't hold up the rest of the crew. Respect the time and address it later if possible. Listen, guys, remember, set etiquette isn't about just adhering to rules. It's about creating a supportive environment that gets stuff done. And that's all I'm trying to say. Respecting each other and making sure that we have team support. What were you saying, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to unpack there, and we definitely will be taking questions later on, and would love to follow up on a lot of things because there's so many specific situations. There are infinite situations that you have to kind of be very, focused in on how you should act in any
Mhm.
different way. Like I said, every like we keep saying, every set is different. You have to realize what they're okay with, what they're not, what the mannerism is, if it's super professional, if it's kind of laid back, and just knowing your place is. I mean, when saying knowing your place, it sounds really bad, but we're not here for you. We're not here for me as even the director. We're not here for the actors. We're all here voluntarily on a smaller film, or even we may get paid, but we were picked to be here because we're trusted. We're all here to make a product, and we need to be professional in that way, but we're also here to make art. So we need to be free and professional, but also trusting everyone, because even in professional workplaces, there's so much that happens, and that they have to have human resources. There's so much sometimes in, like, you can't talk to this employee because they're just not great, and you're trapped with those people. In film, you can be trapped with a lot of people that, I mean, me and Emmanuel, we consider a lot of people to be kind of cancers on set, and maybe on a later date we can really get into that. We'll definitely be doing more webinars and stuff like this. So if you want to learn more, that's definitely going to be an option. We very much enjoy talking about a lot of this stuff. So this is kind of just a starter. If you have to be on set tomorrow, hopefully you're here listening to this because we do want to set you on the right course. But just like I said, I mean, it really comes down to mentally preparing yourself to be professional in any situation, but to be someone that is, likable, and someone that's a trooper. Oh my goodness. Emmanuel was talking about it, and it just really clicked again with me. You could be in the middle of the desert. You could be in New Zealand, like on Lord of the Rings, walking the side of this ice cold mountain, filming these gorgeous shots that are so worth it, but it's so much pain and struggle to get them. And that is for people who really love the art. You can't be complaining because everyone's thinking about it. And the moment someone complains, everyone doesn't want to be there, doesn't want to do their jobs. The actors can feel it, everyone can feel it. You bring it down. So you have to be a trooper, you have to be plugged in, ready to support your crew, your family, and to make something great. Whether you're directly in charge of that in you know, one of the top tier rules, or you're just helping out, making sure everything is safe, everything is happening, everything is functional. You have to be ready to be a trooper. because you don't always get you don't always get cozy sets. You don't always get to have a cushy chair to sit in. A lot of times on most sets, I've done so many sets where we were just outside in a public park in a area where we were allowed to be in, but people really shouldn't be there because we were in Florida. And there's so much crap that goes on. You just have to be really ready for anything and ready to be dealing with so much that you can barely take it, but you still have to be very professional, very kind, very helpful because you want to do this again. I was able to do something in the virtual stage. I'm wearing the shirt right now, my film Dr. Alan Ventureman that I wrote and directed and did a lot of work on. I was able to do that in a virtual stage with, it was very nice, air conditioned in Florida, but we were all air conditioned, so we were all able to wear nice, long sleeves and pants, and it was very nice. I was able to have that privilege at the end of my college career as my thesis film, and I was able to bring in people that I trusted, people that I know have who have been through hell on sets, who have really put in their time in the worst conditions to have this really nice set, really relaxing set to work on where it's safe. You don't have to worry about stepping on snakes or anything. To have that privilege, I was able to handpick a team that I people I knew who deserved it and who would respect it because they know all not every set's like this. They can just do whatever they want. Oh, this is a really nice set. They worked as if they were working, like I said, on an edge of a cliff because they were super serious about everything. They were focused, still able to have fun and enjoy each other's company, but still worked really hard as if they were working outside and they wanted to get everything done. They were on time, but they were able to be really cozy and everything. That was a privilege that I was so happy to be able to give to a crew of peers that I have worked with before. But you're not going to start from there, most likely. If you're being able to be hired onto a PA job with not a lot of experience, it may not be the most pleasant. But if you can be a pleasant person in that not very pleasant place, that is bounds ahead of so many people who may have been working as a PA on so many sets and maybe,
Yes.
complaining all the time. If you get there day one and you have a great attitude till the last day of shooting, you're getting invited back, whether that's your first set you've ever been on, whether it's not. I can't guarantee. I'm not saying like absolutely without hesitation will be invited back. If you're able to be invited back, you will be invited back because that's people we want to be on our sets. That's people who we know. We have friends. We have professional mentors, and professional people that we've worked with that have directly said we don't want people who are going to screw around. We want people who take this craft seriously of making movies and who have the correct etiquette to take great introduction. You were great on day one because you prepared. You were like, okay, you haven't gone through hell of that set yet. You were able to have a great introduction, and you were able to maintain that to last day because you were professional and you had great etiquette. That's really what this whole thing is all about. So, just wanted to hit that really hard. But yeah, that's all I had to say, and that was a lot, but
No,
that's
no, but it's
why I did it.
important.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing that because a lot of people don't, they'll write you off. As soon as you get
Mhm.
on set, they'll write you off. They're not going to pull you aside and say, "Hey, kid, won't you try it like this?" Because you're a hazard. You're going to cost money to the set. So that's why me and Josh wanted to make this course because we wanted you to understand that film set etiquette isn't a one size fit all solution. It can change based off the genre of the film and the culture of the people involved. Cultural sensitivity on international and diverse sets are essential. So you have to be ready so that you don't get labeled as someone who's not ready. And we
Mhm.
just thought it was so important because as we go into our next transition into the third and fourth quarter of 2023, we're going to be looking for actors. We're going to be looking for crew members. And we want to make sure that you guys go through this course, go through this webinar, and know the basics of film set etiquette. For instance,
Yeah.
while basic film set etiquette applies across genre, right? The atmosphere of a specific requirement can vary. On a horror film set, the atmosphere may be way more intense, requiring quiet and concentration to create suspenseful scenes. You see, actors might need more space to get into their character. So, limiting unnecessary interactions can be crucial. But on the other hand, now Josh, you know, because you write a lot of good comedies. On a comedy film set, you might foster a lighter atmosphere. You know, you might find that laughter is more acceptable because it helps the talent stay in character a little bit more. They might feel a little motivated. But however, it's important to know when to be quiet and when not to be, such as during the take, to avoid ruining the sound recording.
Mhm. And you may feel like we're saying, "Be quiet," when you need to be quiet a lot. You're like, "No, duh." But, like, you don't realize how difficult it is for some people who are like, "I'm so ready to be on a film set," and they just talk and talk and talk. If you're a talkative person, that's fine. You can probably tell by now I can be very talkative. I can go on and on about things I'm passionate about. Like, I'm passionate about making sure you understand all this because we want you to be someone we want to hire, we wanna work with. I can't wait to work with all of you after this course. But, it's just we're gonna hit on a lot of things like being quiet and having open mind because there's people who just can't that we have directly worked with and had to hire again because there are no better options. And it going into a new production, hiring someone you knew was a problem in the last production is for me one of the worst feelings. I imagine for you as well, Emmanuel.
Yeah, of course. You know what? While you were talking, you had me laughing inside because, like, I'm not perfect, right? And I gotta
Mhm.
point this out because I even found if you got a chitter chatter person, someone who just don't know when they can bait you in. That's another thing. Knowing when to tell your friend, hey man, they said quiet on set. I know you don't want to lose that friend, but if they talking to you, that's just as bad as you talking because it's a quiet on set. So I caught myself a producer on my own independent film. I'm not gonna say no names, Josh. I think hold on, I'm not talking to Siri. I'm not gonna say no names. But a female just started chit chatting in my ear while I'm trying to produce a movie. And it's like she was telling me something, and it was so weird because you get baited in the conversation to where you kind of want to listen and you are listening. But then you like, man, like, but you're not even thinking. You kind of get. So my point is, it happens to all of us. I'm not better than nobody. I had to learn the hard way, but I learned the hard way because I realized how important it was when it was my turn. And let's just talk about that because you may not have big aspirations on a film set, but if you do, it's going to be your turn. It's going to be your debut, your opportunity to do something big, and you're going to need a quiet on set. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm
Yeah.
going to leave it right there. It's going to be your turn.
Yeah. There's a lot of things we do have to kind of like leave how it is because there's a lot of very personal things in this that we want more people that we can work with. So definitely we want to do more. So please check more for more webinars and more stuff on etiquette and whatnot. We want to be very specific and open with everyone, especially if they're directly from our community and whatnot. But yeah, I have to agree. It really it comes down because even us, we're not perfect. There's a lot of checking yourself no matter what, no matter how many sets you've been on. There's a lot of checking yourself, and that's a really tough thing as well. There's a lot of really tough lessons to learn, and like telling your friend, "Hey, shh, be quiet. We're supposed to be quiet in a quiet way yourself, because you don't want to be the person screaming again at someone to be quiet when they weren't really being heard. They could have been quiet, but they weren't really being heard, and you were screaming at them. That's has happened to me on a set where people had to get cut because someone was trying to make sure their friend was being quiet. So figure out how to do that. That's a little bit of advice right there. But you know, you should be surrounded with people that are very professional, but you're also saving their behind when a producer comes around and pulls them aside, be like, you aren't being quiet on my set, da, da, da," and you might get pulled in with them. So whether you had to walk away, whether you had to be a little bit upfront about it, whatnot, and everything. So yeah,
I like that you were talking about it, and I was like, it reminds me of when I was
you
a school
really gotta
teacher.
you really gotta check your mic. It's going a bit crazier even now.
It is.
Yeah, it's a
Is
little bit
that better?
worse now.
Hold on.
No, now it's consistent.
Yeah, my thing might have came out. I might have pulled the cord a little bit. Can you hear me better?
Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
turn
no,
down the gain a little bit? Do you have anything like
yeah.
that? Okay, because whenever you get close to peaking, you go, the
Is this
popping.
better? Is that
Talk
better?
a little louder into it.
That's the one too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
sound really
yeah,
good
yeah.
now.
Okay,
Okay, you
yeah, no,
pop a
I was
little
just
bit,
gonna
but it's manageable.
yeah, no, all I was gonna say was it's like when you're I used to teach kindergarten and pre-K, and it's like you tell the kids to be quiet, and then they yell to the other kid, "Be quiet!" But it's like you're not helping either. So finding a way to silence your friend or remind them that like one of my things is this: turn the gain down one more time.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
just
better?
like I think you get really close to it. I know I could probably also turn my gain down a bit, but it's just like that popping starts once you get really into it.
Well, I appreciate you stopping me on the popping. Is that better?
It's still going. It feels like once you start talking, it like freeze it. I don't know. It's one of those things. I would just
Let
unplug
me
it, plug it
so let
back
me
in.
let me let me put my yeah, let me unplug it and plug it back in because I'm using my it's better. Hello?
Yeah, it's better because it's not on your voice, but it's like a pitter pattering. Make sure the connection's on
Hold
the
on.
microphone itself. I don't know. All connection points as we talked about. It's going really good. It's long, but it's going good.
Oh yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's that little clicking sound.
Better because it's not on your voice, but it's like a pitter pattering.
Oh, I
Make
hear
sure
it.
the connection's on the microphone itself. I don't know. All connection points as we talked about.
I think it's hold on. I didn't want to block my face too much. All right, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, just start going to something like
Yeah, tell me if this is bad or is it worse? Is it better? I mean, I can put it out. I can clean it up in isotope. Um,
I
but
don't think you have
did
to
it
get
get?
that close to it.
Yeah, I probably don't. Is that better?
Yeah, just don't get close to it, and it's fine.
Let me
Because I
see.
think once you get really close, soon it's starting to get like peaking and popping, but you don't sound bad.
Yours sound really good. When we play this back, yours sounds really good. Oh yeah. All right. So I'm good right now.
Yeah, you're good as long as you don't get too close to it.
All
So
right,
I
I
don't know.
got you.
Do you want to move your screen back just a little bit so you give that distance?
Well, my
You know what
mic
I'm
is
saying?
not even. This is the mic right here.
No, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see it. The screen you have in front of your microphone.
Oh, move the screen off the mic.
Yeah, just move it a bit, a gap. Yeah, that'll help with distancing.
That's a little bit better.
Yeah, that should help maintain it.
All right, cool.
Cool.
So I don't know if anybody's actually in here. Is that me? But I think we should we just pick up on cultural sensitivity?
Um, yeah, if you have a talking point on that, I guess, like, yeah,
Oh yeah,
go ahead.
I got a whole script, bro. Listen.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanna cut some stuff down. We are talking quite a lot about a lot of
Well,
things, so
what
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
do is no, what I'm gonna do is so funny thing is, and I know it's a 2-hour video at this point, and it's like, yeah, right, I'm not doing this. Um, it's I wanna
Nah, it'll
cut
be
it up
like
into
2 separate ones.
courses. I wanna make it into a course. Like, and if you do it in sections, we can have the different sections and we can do revenue split. I'll show you how to do that in
Yeah,
Thinkific, and we can just do
yeah,
50/50. Just turn it, but you gotta help me turn it into a course. You gotta help me edit it. You gotta help me chop it up.
yeah.
Like I'll take
Hey,
half,
future
you
us.
take
Hey,
half.
future Manny. Hey, future Josh.
Yeah, hey guys, let's get this money.
Yeah, sorry
Um,
it sucks right now, but yeah.
no,
No.
it doesn't. It sounds really good, and
I know it sounds good, but, like,
no,
s the length
I
of this.
checked it. Go back and watch it on. Can you see it? I'll send you the Vimeo link. You can go
Yeah,
back
we'll
and
figure it out.
you can watch it right
Yeah.
now. I just posted it in the chat.
Nah,
Um,
I trust it. I heard from your end. So, yeah.
all right, let me just do this one part. Okay, we're almost done. We're really done. The funny thing is, we got Q&A, but we don't have anybody to give us Q&A. But I might be able to find a solution for that. All right, here
Yeah.
we go.
I think that'll just be at a later date, but, like, "Hey, if you wanna
Yeah.
send us, talk," just like, where can they reach us? Join the Unimonia community,
Oh
and
yeah,
if
that's
you
a good
put
idea.
things in there, we will either j talk we'll try to get to you directly, but also make another course on it. I
Okay.
think that'd be really nice. Yeah,
All right. So let me
nice
just do this one
closer.
real quick. If you want to take a
Yeah,
beat, I'll just do this one take. Let me just knock it out real quick. Hold on.
yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, and guys, as we talk about adapting to etiquette on different sets, we cannot go without mentioning cultural sensitivity. When filming on different countries or with diverse cultures, it's crucial to be aware and respect of local customs and practices. For examples, in some cultures, it might be considered rude to directly criticize someone's work or give constructive feedback. You see, and it may need to be delivered with more subtleties. You know what I mean? Instead of just being so aggressive. You see, local traditions might detect specific ways of interacting with senior crew members or actors. Researching these culture norms and adapting your behavior accordingly is key to maintaining a harmonious set. So you never know where you're going to be or what the result or what you're going to have to do, but being educated not to make mistakes by not being educated. And then that goes to exactly what I'm getting into next, and that's adapting etiquette. So when filming content that deals with specific cultures and contexts, it is important to adapt the etiquette to respect those aspects. For instance, in a scene that is being shot in a sacred location, there may be specific rules or behaviors or dress codes or noise levels, etc., which needs to be followed, right? You see, similarly, when dealing with these themes and these stories from a specific culture, including with representatives from that culture or that process, and listening to their guidance can ensure respectful and accurate representation. You don't want to go and have people getting offended because you didn't understand or you took it the wrong way or you just unaware. You know, and sometimes I'm always a little bit delayed, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do my best to find out before I get there. Lastly, I want to talk about inclusive spaces. Film sets should be spaces where everyone feels respected and valued, regardless of their background. This includes acknowledging and respecting different cultures, practices, beliefs, and experiences. From respecting dietary restrictions. If you're a producer, think about if everybody's a vegetarian, if one person's a vegetarian, can you not just order all meat pizza? Doing the catering and acknowledging religious practices or holidays. You see, inclusivity goes a long way when fostering a positive and productive filming environment. Lastly, guys, in conclusion, good film set etiquette is adaptable and sensitive to the genre, culture, context, and the individuals involved in the filmmaking process. So keep that in mind when you are on your next set. Keep that in mind as you're progressing to the next level, because essentially that is what you're going to need when it comes to progressing in this world as a film set expert and having that etiquette experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope what we've told you has been very personal. I mean, very general. You could tell we kind of had some things written down. We wanted to give you good information, but a lot of this, I know definitely from me and definitely a lot from Manuel. I know directly our personal experiences, personal triumphs versus personal lessons or failures, however you want to see them, uh, and a lot to learn from. And you're definitely gonna have times where you're gonna smack yourself in the head. And you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have good days. Just always be willing to learn from that. We want to help you as much as we can in this course, but again, it's just the approach of knowing that you know you can't be the best every day, and that's okay. But just be able to have this information in your head that we've told you, be able to run on autopilot with a lot of these niceties, a lot of this etiquette, be able to just automatically have that click on, and it'll save you a lot of embarrassment, a lot of near firing situations, a lot of just butting heads. Make a whole lot of, you know, positive sets, and it will save your butt a lot. Because just being able to have an autopilot that is nice to people. I know some people don't have that and they just go. We're working. It's another day of work. I'm not in the best mood. I just want to be over. You can't really have that on a set. I hope a lot of what we've told you has informed you to be able to build that sort of autopilot you have to be able to function on sets on your worst days and on your best days, of course.
Absolutely, Josh. And it seems that we have a couple of questions that come in. The first question says, can you share a situation where you saw the impact of good etiquette on a film set? You want to take it or I'll take it?
You take it as you're a producer and you get to sort of bring people back a lot. I've talked about how I was able to bring people onto my thesis one in earlier courses. But I definitely would love to see what you have to say, being as you're
Sure.
focused more on producer.
Absolutely. So one time I remember when we were filming a scene that required a lot of coordination among different departments. Everyone was respectful of each other and the roles, and they communicated effectively. This mutual effects and good etiquette helped us complete a complex scene and, to be honest, a less timely manner than we actually expected to do it in. Providing us good etiquette honestly saved the day. So it's just I've been blessed. I've been lucky. Um, Thank you for that question. We got one more. Well, we got a couple more. So this question is, what is the best way to handle high stress situation on set? You got that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. I've been a student on a lot of sets more than I've been, professional on sets, which is totally fine. I'm still very young. You know, it's good to have that lesson. So when things get heated, when things are a bit too intense, when there's a lot of supposed to be special effects and you don't really know, and that there's a lack of communication on set, it's always good to step back. Although you want to identify with that set and everything, sometimes you're just there to work and to better your craft, and that can be great when it's a good film, but sometimes you're going to work on bad films. And that's where this has to happen, where you had to learn to step back. You had to learn to take a step back, let your niceties run and let that autopilot go. And you're just like, yes, I'm working. We're going to figure this out. I'm going to stay quiet if I have nothing to add. And it looks like I shouldn't add anything because of craziness, because things are getting real riled up on set. Um, if you don't know how to solve a problem or how to avoid the chaos, no one's going to blame you from taking a step back, maybe walking out and just getting a breath of fresh air. If you're able to, you are perfectly allowed to do that. No one can blame you if it's a crazy set. Um, y- s- Sets get really heated, I can tell you personally, and you just need to learn to be able to stand. Maybe you have to stand at the camera while actors are yelling on set to the director who is behind you, and you're stuck in the middle, and that will happen in many different shapes and forms. You just got to sort of have that, blank stare at the floor and be able to just sort of be
Yep.
there. You're just power save mode until, okay, we can do something productive, because there's a lot of passion in this craft, and there's a lot of butting of heads that just is going to happen. Almost any set you're on, I could make a safe bet that on every set there definitely is a lot of butting heads, whether that is as verbal
Yep.
and as big. But you definitely just need to learn. I know Emmanuel, he's probably dealt with it more of a communicating aspect. I've definitely
Yeah.
dealt with it of like, I'm just a PA, I just exist. Um,
Right.
the the big people are talking, the people with the big pockets are being really affected by this film. I'm just here to be paid for my work. I'm going to sit here until I'm able to work again. Just be professional, because some of these actors don't want the public to know they act like that. Some of these directors don't want that. No one really wants that on their reputation, but it's how that happens. Sometimes it's just an outlier on how these people act because it's such a heated set. You just got to be okay with like focusing on nothing, focusing on the floor. You're just there. When you're able to work, you put everything that just happened behind you. We got to work. Be able to do that is crucial on tough sets. So you really, that
Absolutely.
autopilot's great, but also the, you know, power saving mode when like the world around you is just going crazy and you're like, I have nothing to do with this. I need to sit here until I can do something and stay out of the way.
Right.
So
And,
yeah.
and the key is to stay calm, like you mentioned, and focus
Mhm.
on problem solving rather than panicking and blaming others. Clearly communicate and issue the right person and work together towards a solution. We can't say it enough. Remember that every problem is a learning opportunity, guys. So take note on what went wrong and how you can avoid it in the future. I think it
Can
gets
you
no
start
simpler.
from every problem is, because you cut out there a little bit.
Okay. Um, what did I say?
And as we said before, every problem is a learning situation, I believe you said.
I was freestyling that.
No, you're fine. You were like, and as we said, every problem is a, and it just went,
Okay. I think I remember.
yeah.
Remember, every problem is a learning opportunity. So take note on what went wrong and how you can avoid it in the future. We got a couple more questions.
Yeah.
How do how does one adapt to their behavior when working with sets in different cultures? I'll say I'll take that one if it's okay. The first
Yeah,
step
you've had
is
more experience than I do.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, we're a team though. We both you got different experience
Yeah,
at
yeah, no,
different
no, no.
levels. So the
Mhm.
first step is to research and to educate yourself on the local cultures, traditions, and work practices. I got a friend, Anthony. He's a writer, and he's not allowed to work on certain days because of his religion. I won't give up too much of his business, but he's a good friend of mine, and I can share that. And so that includes understanding customs, communication styles, and even specific film set practices. You see, when in doubt, ask. It's better to seek clarification than to unintentionally disrespect someone's culture. So I honestly couldn't remember all the details, and that's why I didn't share because I couldn't
Mhm.
remember what day, but I do know that whenever I know when that day come up, I'm not gonna have them working. Last
Yeah.
question: can you share a
Well, I
situation?
got something on that
Oh,
question real
I'm sorry. Go
fast.
ahead, buddy. Sorry about
No,
that.
yeah, I would say with culture, nowadays, I mean, like, culture is so cool, especially on a cool place like a film set. You may have people from so many different backgrounds. It's amazing. Like, so many great lunch discussions. Please try to sit next to someone you haven't talked to before at lunch and be very nice to them, talk to them. This is a really cool experience. Just, be aware. Curiosity comes at a price. Be respectfully curious, ask respectful questions, relevant questions at appropriate times. They're trying to work the same as you. You know, even if you see yourselves as different, we can't affect how you see other people. I mean, I'm not saying anything about how we view people, but I know whatever you approach you have to new people of different cultures, please be respectful. We're I'm not gonna tell you how to act per se around anyone new. That's up to you. I don't want to, say anything that's gonna offend anyone because this is a sensitive topic nowadays. But I find culture super cool. I oftentimes ask a lot of questions because I know guys from a lot of Spanish speaking countries. I know a guy from India. We met on a set. I gave him a lot of advice on his set because he was also doing virtual stage stuff. I've met so many cool people from so many different places, and it's great to talk to them because I'm a storyteller. I love that, new information, new perspective, and it's super cool. And everyone's gonna go to the set with different perspectives. If you're in, a very big set, there's a lot of people, so it's great discussions. I always see it as a positive. I think you should too because we're here to tell stories. And if you're someone who has a prejudice against someone else because their story is different than you, their experience is different than you are locking yourself off to so much just amazing story and background. And that's just how I see it. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just saying when you're on a film set, please be positive. Please be open. If you have questions, ask appropriately because no one's going to say, I don't like talking about my heritage or whatnot. I'm just Irish, but I'll talk about my heritage all day. It's super fun. It's a good question for anyone. And that's definitely something that's going to come up because you're going to meet so many different people. Granted, there's still that hierarchy. You have to understand that you can't just go up to actors or actresses and start talking to them per se a lot of times, but just be aware, but don't be afraid because culture is an amazing thing and definitely something people should be educating themselves, asking questions about nowadays because there's so many backgrounds that only can help you to understand the world more. So I say just be open to it. Be aware of when it's appropriate and whatnot, and how to be polite about things. And if you don't know, maybe don't go asking questions alone. If you have a buddy there that you can trust, you don't know how people are going to react. But yeah, I say be positive about it and be curious as to your heart's consent, respectfully and appropriately.
I like how you put that. Exactly. Well, and I think that's a good way to wrap up. You know, as we wrap up the session
Mhm.
today, I want to thank you all for your time and engagement. We've covered a lot of ground from understanding the importance of etiquette on a film set to breaking down rules that guide our behavior on set to discussing adaptations of these rules across different genres and cultures. Remember that film set etiquette is not merely a set rule or a set of rules. It's a reflection of your respect for the craft, as Josh mentioned before, your colleagues, and the story you're helping to tell. See, Josh hit it on the nail. Each one of us, introspective in our own role, has a part to play creating a positive and effective work environment. You see, take the insight from this webinar and apply it in your roles. Keep learning. Each film set is unique. Each team is different. Every day brings new challenges and opportunities for growth. Your willingness to adapt, to respect, and to facilitate the storytelling process is what the whole set apart. That is what sets you apart in this industry. Like I get so passionate, so I get a little bunched up in words, but that's what's going to really help you stand out. So whether you're just starting your journey or you're a seasoned professional, I hope that today's session has enriched you to understand and appreciate the power of good etiquette on a film set. Remember that every
Yeah.
moment that you spend on the film set is an opportunity to learn, grow, and contribute to the magic of cinema.
Mhm.
Thank you once again for joining us. Keep exploring, keep growing, and all above, keep respecting the art and the craft of filmmaking. My name is Emmanuel Sims. This is my best friend, Josh Callahan Foley. And if you
Thank
got
you.
any closing remarks, please jump in and say something nice.
Yeah, I just like speaking things into the universe because I never know who they're gonna land with or who's gonna hear it that needs to hear it. But just some mentality things, just something, a mission statement almost. If you want to be on awesome, cool, super fun movie sets, they want awesome, cool, very fun people that they can trust to be there. So if you're starting out or if you're already in this industry, but you're not quite hitting with the etiquette, you're not quite getting the jobs you want, really define yourself on where you want to go. Focus on your specialties, but become someone that other people want to be working with, that other people want on their sets. Because I know it's something that both of us directly look at, and we want to tell you these things because we want more people that are awesome and super fun to be on our awesome, super fun sets that only are getting bigger and bigger. Because there's so many cool people who work on Star Wars and Marvel and all these cool things, but that took so much time, so much love, a lot of fun sets, but a lot of struggles to get to that. So we don't know what the next super fun set that everyone wants to be on, and there's a lot of fear of missing out. But in order to get to that point where you really will be hireable, be fun. Don't be a jerk, is one of the biggest things they punched at film school. They used a different word that besides jerk that really sticks with you, but I won't on here. Don't be a jerk. Be someone super cool, super fun if you want to be on those super cool and super fun sets. I don't know who needs to hear that. I needed to tell myself that because I only want to get on bigger sets, but it really takes a lot of self evaluation work. You should always be improving yourself. You should always be learning. Be someone that's able to consume information because the moment you stop being trainable is the moment you're cut out because this is an ever changing industry and you just need to be,
Yep,
like you said, open minded, ready to go, work your hardest, ready to learn and adapt, but be someone that other people want to work with and be someone that you can, I want to bring people into my filmmaking family. That's a
yeah, man,
family. People I can
yeah,
trust, people I want to hire whenever I can. If you are within driving distance from where I'm shooting, you're free, please come. I will give you a job or you can just be there to make sure that I don't fall on my face because I trust
absolutely,
you more than I trust myself. And that's
absolutely.
the people we want to come out of this course, to come out of, this film etiquette webinar course. So please, grow into that person, whatever whoever you that version of you is. If you really want to place in this industry, you need to find that person, you need to grow that person forever until you retire. Then do whatever you want. But no, this stuff doesn't get old. There's always more fun stuff to do, and if you want to be a part of it, you got to be fun, you have to be cool, and you have to be someone that is amazing on set. You have to do your job, but be an amazing person. And that's
That's
a
right.
tough juggling act, but I
Yep,
just want to put it out there. That's what this all is about. We gave you all these tips and know how you do it. Obviously, we're not saying we are a film college or anything. We are just people who know, who have done this. We are going to know more and later on, so maybe we'll add on to this. But,
that's right.
do your research now if you're just starting. If you already know, you already are in there, but you need to focus on the etiquette more. Just keep consuming and keep learning, and that's the best
Absolutely.
advice you can get for improving. If you want to talk to someone about improving self, Emmanuel, you can tell them all about it. We can definitely give you recommendations right now about where you should go next to find us, find our work. So I'll give you the floor to plug everything and to take us out.
Yeah, guys, absolutely. So, if you want to join the community, you could text us at 240-607-5258. Um, and I just want to motivate you before I get into any further information. You can do it. You can do it. I'll say it one more time. You can do it. I want to motivate you that the entire point of us making this was so that you can know that you can do it. And we don't want you to feel like you can't do it, but you wanna be able to do it and do it right. You wanna be able to do it and do it wow. You know what I mean? So, when I say get out there, fall on your face, get out there, make some mistakes, you understand what I'm saying? You really can do anything that you can put your mind to, and all you have to do is really do it. Um, text us text us the word movies, and we're gonna be in touch with you. We're gonna send you a link, and we wanna introduce you to our community.
Mhm.
Text us, guys. This is also gonna be turned into a course, so if you're watching it as a course, thank you. I'll probably do a different outro, but, uh, get the down if you like this and you want the DLCs that's gonna come with the course, send us a message. We're gonna take care of you. But I don't wanna
Yeah.
go any further because we have to edit this 2.5-hour video. We just hit the 2.5-hour mark. Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for joining us. I'm
Thank
Emmanuel
you.
Sims. This is Josh Callahan Foley. And if no one's told you they love you today, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. Drippity, drippity.
What he said. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna hit end. It may kick us out, but I'll call you
But
briefly, and
it's
then
in the bag.
yeah, we're done. I'm done. Well,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'll call you.
Cool.
Bye.